All right. Hey guys, welcome back to Sun Crypto. In today's content, we'll talk about BTC. We'll take a look at the BTC dominance, and at the same time, we'll take a look at BTC on the macro scale. We'll take a look at BTC on the monthly, all the way down to the 3D time frame, and what type of price action we could anticipate over the next like a few weeks or even like a few months going forward, right? So the volatility is quite high over the last few hours. So we got a nice 5% pump on the BTC price and another 5% dump and all that good stuff. So we will take a look at the price action after we done talking about the BTC dominance and all that good stuff, right? So let me go ahead and take a look at the chat room to make sure the sound is good. Hey, what's up, Pablo S Crypto in the house? Thanks a lot for tuning in. So let me know if the sound is good before we before we go ahead and dive into the analysis. All right, the sound is good, right? So now, when we take a look at the BTC dominance over the last few months, we've been talking about the BTC dominance after the retest of the September lows, somewhere around like a 39.5, right? So what we said before even the pump, right? We said, okay, we got our double bottom. We're most likely going to get a double top all the way up to a 47, 48, and after we get our double bottom, double top, we're most likely going to be continuing to the downside, and the BTC dominance could basically retest somewhere around like a 25, give or take, right? However, if you take a look at what happened after we get the double top, double bottom right here, we ended up creating a triple bottom, all right? So basically we tested the 39.5, 40% support right here, and basically now we're pushing back up. So what pattern could we anticipate right now, since like we did not break out below the 39, 40% support? We could we could anticipate what a descending triangle, right? Or you could anticipate what a potential parallel channel or wedge pattern, something like that. Okay, we just don't know as of now if BTC is going to be breaking out above the 48% right here. If we break out above the 48%, we won't be able to call it a channel, right? And we won't be able to call it a descending triangle. I mean, we can still call it a descending triangle, right? Just like that, right? Meaning like we got 1, 2, 3, and if we break out above this range, we could expect like a 1-to-1 extension to the upside right there, all the way up to somewhere around like mid 50%, right? So something to keep in mind, right? The BTC dominance in terms of indicator, it is still looking pretty good. As you can see right here on our MACD, we're still making what higher lows right there and higher highs. Price action was making lower lows right there, so was a bullish divergence for a potential reversal to the upside. So we talk about all these setups like back in September, October, and all that good stuff. We were saying like the BTC dominance, if we do not break out below 39.5, we're most likely going to be retesting our 48%, okay, 46 to 48% and all that good stuff, right? So even if we go back and back test the BTC dominance, you can see that we got a strong support slash resistance somewhere around here. Okay, the trend line support resistance started since like July 2017. We got a support right here. March 2018, we did get a strong resistance somewhere around like a 50%, a double support right there somewhere around like a 52% back in April, March 2019 right here, before pushing all the way up to 72, and the same trend line support right here, okay, anticipated the dump and basically gave us a nice reversal back to 72% before the dump all the way down to like a 40%. All right, so if we break out strongly above the 48-50% range, we could even retest the trend line resistance somewhere around like 60%, 58%, depending on the volatility and depending on the how long the bear market could last. So we're just speculating for a potential move to the upside, but let's see if BTC will be able to break out above 48% first, right? And we could start to look for 50 or 55, and after that could be looking for the historical trend line resistance somewhere around like a 58 to 60%. Okay, in terms of indicator, again, our RSI, it is not weak at all. It looks pretty strong, and as you can see right here, we got a a nice bull divergence, just like the MACD. Okay, MACD was giving us a strong bull divergence on the weekly. RSI was giving us a strong bull divergence on the weekly, so we could look for somewhere around like 71 to 73% RSI over the next like a few weeks or even like a few months, depending on how long the BTC dominance will basically stay strong, okay, over the next like a few weeks or even like a few months going forward. Okay, I would say at least 3 to 6 months, because it moves pretty slow. Remember, our first support was back in May. Okay, our second support was like back in September, and our third support is what, January. Okay, so it in terms of like a timing, you can see like we basically tend to bottom somewhere around like let's say 3 to 4 months, okay, on average. Okay, 3 to 4 months. So if we're going to retest the support right here, it could be somewhere around like April, May, if bears, okay, the alt bear is going to show up and dump the price back down. Could be somewhere around like a May, April, May, if the move is strong enough, and we could look for a a push to the downside if we break out below 39. But as of now, it looks pretty strong, and the bias is like, most likely bulls, the BTC bulls, okay, going to be staying very strong in terms of the BTC dominance, and could be pushing the price much higher, if we break out above like a 48%. Okay, so especially the 21 EMA right now, it is supporting the price. As you can see right here, was a strong resistance at the same time, right? Resistance right there, right here, and right now it is not acting as a resistance, but it is acting as what? It is acting as a support. Okay, so let's see if we're going to be able to break out above 48% over the next like a few months and so on, right? So let's go ahead and dive into the analysis for BTC, right? So for BTC, we will start off with the quarterly time frame, because we're going to go ahead and take a look at BTC on a macro scale, right? So let's take a look at it. We just got a nice volatility, like a 5% up on the hourly, another 5% up the next hour, another 5% dump the next hour, and all that good stuff. So we're getting a lot of dump and pump. So when we take a look at BTC on a quarterly basis, let's take a look at it on Coinbase. All right, so when we take a look at BTC on a quarterly basis, it is not looking very promising. Okay, if you recall our last quarter back in 2021, what I was saying was like, guys, we're going to be dumping down to our monthly 21 EMA, right? However, I'm not expecting the monthly, the quarterly time frame to close bearish, even though I was bearish at 53, 52 area, right? I was saying like we're most likely going to stay above at least above 45k, just to close the quarterly cycle bullish. Okay, meaning like the candle closing green, even though it was a big rejection, you could make an argument it was still a bullish pattern. But regarding our setup back then, we were looking for the quarterly time frame to just stay bullish, so we could get like some formal move, and bulls most likely going to be saying like, oh, we're going to be pushing to the upside and all that good stuff. So we just stay with the downtrend after the quarterly close, and we're looking for the 35k area. So now we got our 35k area, and if you take a look at our current quarterly cycle, the same thing I was expecting back in December, right? it is the same thing I'm going to be expecting right now. Is like, I don't expect bears to be dumb enough to let the quarterly cycle close bullish. Okay, so what does it mean? Okay, it means price action may not, okay, close above the candle open. Remember last quarter, right? The last quarter of the 2021 year, the year of 2021, you can see like I was expecting price action not to close below the candle open. Right now, what I'm saying is like, we might not get a strong push to close above the candle open, right? You see what I'm saying? Close below and now close above. So bears most likely going to keep the price below the quarterly cycle open, meaning like the first candle of 2021. Okay, meaning like we opened the candle at 46.211. Okay, so 46.211 going to be a very strong resistance. We already talked about like our quarterly resistance, main quarterly resistance, it is at 43.5 up to 46. And if you recall well, we did not even break out above 46 the entire year. So we've been saying like 43.5 up to 46, that's going to be a sell, a strong selling zone, and bears been respecting that zone. Okay, so it is basically showing a strong resistance right here based on the quarterly time frame, right? So now let's take a look at BTC on a monthly basis. So what I just said, if you recall what I just said, right? The quarterly time frame back in back in 2021, the last quarter of 2021, right? We did not expect price to close below 44. It did not. But after the new quarterly cycle, what we said, we're going to be dumping down to our monthly 21. So if you take a look at the monthly 21 right now, right, you can see like we got a triple bottom. Okay, and we called it since like when December BTC was somewhere around like 52. We said, guys, we're going to be dumping all the way down to our monthly 21. However, once we hit our monthly 21, everything could change. Okay, meaning like price action could move sideways for like 3 to 5 months. We just don't know. And if you take a look at it right now, we already got 3 months of sideways correction. Okay, so in general, if we go back and back test the sideways correction around the monthly 21, it tends to be somewhere around like 3 to 5 months or even like 6 months depending on the volatility. Back in 2018, right here, we retested the monthly 21 back in June 2018, right? So when did we get the breakout below the monthly 21 EMA? November. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Right here, we retested the monthly 21 EMA back in November 2019. When did we get the breakout? March. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So on average, you got like 5 months. Right now, you can see like we retested it like January 2022, and it is already what, March. So could it take like another 2 months before we break out below it? I don't know. Okay, but based on the previous sideways correction above the above the 21 EMA, it generally take like a 5 to 6 months. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at it back in 2014. Back in 2014, we retested it right here, didn't quite hit it, right? But it took like, let's say 2, 4, 6, 7 months, okay, nearly 7 months before we broke out below the 21 EMA. If you want to ignore the wick right here, you could just say we just retested it and dumped below it. Okay, so depending on how you want to look at it, but in general, I would say like at least 3 to 5 months, and we already got 3 months of sideways correction above our 21 EMA, right? So now let's go ahead and take a look at the volume. So if we take a look at BTC in terms of volume, we've been pretty consistent regarding the volume on the macro scale. Okay, if you recall over the last few weeks or even like months, we've been saying like the volume is decreasing. Okay, it is not a good sign. All right, price action is what, moving sideways. Double tap right here based on closing basis, right? Resistance somewhere around like 65. And if you take a look at it based on closing basis, resistance support is somewhere around like 35k. So 65 down to 35, it is what, our sideways correction. If we take a look at our volume, it's been what, decreasing since March 2020. 21. So nearly over 12 months, BTC been moving sideways. Okay, top 65, support 35. Okay, you got some wicks to the downside, but we don't care about the wicks as of now. We just saying like closing basis, meaning like candle close. Okay, so no single so no candle close below 35k, right? Since when? Since like September 2021. So it's almost like over 18 months BTC, it is still pushing to the upside in terms of like a candle closing. So if you take a look at it right here, we're about to get a big move. Okay, we're about to get a very impressive volatility. Okay, so and what we've been saying over the last few weeks or even like a few months is like we don't care about the candle color, right? The only thing we will care about is like the magnitude of the volume, meaning like how big the volume going to be over the next like a few months. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, it could be 1 month, it could be like 3 months, we don't care. But the only thing we want to see is like we want to see a big volume to break the trend. Okay, as you can see right here, before the breakout to the upside, BTC did what? Broke out to the upside right here in terms of volume. Okay, price action was moving sideways, right? In terms of you could call it a wedge pattern on a monthly basis and all that good stuff, right? Price action was basically making low lows and high lows and all that good stuff. Volume was pretty constant, wasn't decreasing, was pretty constant. Okay, but all of a sudden we get the big move to the upside. Prices were pumping to the upside, volume was pumping to the upside. As of now, we're getting sideways correction, right? 65.35, and basically volume is decreasing. We're most likely going to get a big move. So now you're going to be like, Sen, you're saying like we're going to get a big move. Are we going to be getting the move to the upside, or are we going to be getting the move to the downside? As of now, right, my bias, it is to the downside. Okay, my personal bias, it is to the downside. Make sure to do your own research, right, to basically get your personal bias and all that good stuff. But my bias right now, it is like we're most likely, okay, going to get a strong move, right, to the downside. And if we get that move, what I'm going to be looking for, it is going to be the monthly 21, the monthly 50 EMA if we break out below the monthly 21 EMA. Recall, okay, got to remember, we just said after we move sideways somewhere around somewhere around like 5 to 3 to 5 months, right, we're going to be breaking down, okay, below the monthly 21. Okay, so if we get a big volume, right, if we get a big volume to the upside, let's say we don't care about the color of the volume because we don't know how the candle will close, because we can still get a dump and the candle still manage to close above the monthly open, right? We don't know the volatility, how the volatility will look like, right? But the only thing we will care about is like our next support right here going to be at 25k, 24k, give or take, around the monthly 50 EMA. Okay, around the monthly 50 EMA. Yes, we got price support somewhere around like 30k, right? But in terms of moving averages and in terms of like high volatility, if 30k breaks, right, we're most likely going to be retesting our monthly monthly 50 EMA, or even down to our weekly 200 EMA. But we will discuss the weekly 200 EMA. I don't want to be skipping steps and talking about the 200 EMA too soon. And we ended up getting a strong support at the monthly 50 EMA, right? But as of now, my only two support I will be looking for over the next like a few weeks going to be 30k and the monthly 50 EMA. So for the monthly 50 EMA, you can't say like 25k to be exact, because it is a moving average. So you don't know how long it'll take for BTC to break out below the monthly 21 EMA. So if it takes like another 2 months or 3 months, the 50 EMA most likely going to be pushing higher, right? So we can't just say like we can't just say 25 to 24k as of now. We will just say basically monthly 50 EMA. Okay, the monthly 50 EMA. Okay, but as of now it is at 25k. Okay, if BTC dumps right now all the way down to the monthly 50 EMA, it will basically find support at 25 to 24k, give or take. Okay, yes, once again we got 30k support. I don't think we will break 30k support that easily. Okay, but something to keep in mind, the range of 30k all the way down to mid 20k, give or take, right? So now let's go ahead and take a look at BTC on a 3 weeks basis. So when we take a look at BTC on a 3 weeks basis, it is quite important to keep something in mind. I've been saying it since May, June, July last year. Our 3 weeks 21 EMA is a very important it is Satoshi calling. It is a very important moving average, right? Give me guys 1 second. Hey Satoshi, I'm going live. Make sure to check out my live stream. Yeah. Okay, all right. That was Satoshi calling, right? So now let's go ahead and take a look at the 3 weeks time frame, right? So most of you guys are pretty familiar with the 3 weeks time frame, and we've been talking about it since like forever. Okay, even last year after we got the actually 2 years ago, right? It feels like 12 months, right? That was like January 2020, January 2020, March 2020, almost guys, over 2 years, right? So we talked about the engulfing nest right here, and we were calling for 5 to 6k, and you can see like we dump massively. Right now, if you take a look at our 21 EMA on our 3 weeks basis, bang, 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 back in May, June, July. Triple support, quadruple support. We did not close below it. Remember, most bears were saying like we were going to dump down to like a 25k, 24k, and all that good stuff. Because at the same time, our monthly 21 EMA was right around like a 20, somewhere around like 25. But I was saying like since like we did not break out below the 21 EMA for like 3 months, we're most likely not going to take the chance, right, to wait for 25, 24k when we know we got a strong potential push to the upside, or even a double top and a double bottom later on. And that's exactly what's happening right now. So now if we go back to our 21 EMA, the same setup we got right here, that's the same setup we're getting right there, but inversely. Okay, inversely, meaning like if you flip your chart, you can see like right here, right, we're getting a strong rejection, right? And as of now, it is acting as a strong support, right? So something to basically keep in mind, the 3 weeks time frame is basically giving us a strong resistance. Okay, and we talked about it, guys, back in January. What I told you was like, I don't think we will get a clean close above the 21 EMA, because we could not get a clean close below the 21 EMA. So if you've been FOMOing like in this range above like a 42, it is a very dangerous range to be FOMOing at. Okay, you don't want to be FOMOing above like a 41.5, 42, or even like up to a 46. Okay, which is our quarterly resistance. We just talked about our quarterly resistance being at 46, our monthly resistance being at 46, and all that good stuff. Okay, even down to the 3 weeks time frame, we saying like 43 to 45, it is a strong resistance. So you just want to be very, very cautious. We're not saying like, I'm not saying personally like BTC will not go up in the next like a few months or even years, but all I'm saying is we need like more buyers, right, to prove us like market will be moving to the upside over the next like a few weeks. But as of now, it seems like most sellers, okay, are participating into the selling pressure, and we could be seeing like a lower prices and buy some BTC at much cheaper price. If you're buying for the long term, once again, anything below 30k or even like 30 to 35k, it is still a good buy. Okay, it is still a good buy, because I don't see a big difference between 30k and 25k. I won't see a big difference between 30k right down to 35k when BTC hits like a 150 to 200k and all that good stuff, right? But for the leverage traders, most people like to leverage. You just have to be very cautious, because 30k down to a 25k, it is a 20% move. Okay, so if you're doing anything more than 4 or 5x, you're most likely going to get going to get liquidized. Okay, you're not going to get liquidated, but you're going to get liquidized, right? Meaning like you're going to lose everything, right? So keep that in mind. So you just have to be very cautious. But as soon as we hit 30K, it is still going to be a good support to start like accumulating over the next like a few weeks and all that good stuff, right? So now let's go ahead and take a look at BTC on a weekly basis. Okay, if we take a look at BTC on a 7-day cycle, I talked about it like a couple of weeks ago regarding the bearishness. You can see most people don't pay attention to the 7-day cycle, okay, meaning like the weekly cycle, but on a 7 days basis. Okay, so the 7 days basis starts like on January 1st, regardless, okay, if the January 1st is a Sunday, or if it is a Wednesday, whatever. Okay, it starts on January 1st. Okay, so as you can see right here, over the last 4 weeks, guys, okay, BTC been pretty bearish. Okay, I can't even remember last time we got a 4 straight bearish weekly cycle. Okay, that was like at the bottom right there. Okay, but remember, at the bottom we were getting the wicks to the downside. Okay, multiple wicks to the downside, but as of now we only got 1 week to the downside. Okay, 1 week to the downside. Okay, you could make an argument like, hey, look at it right here. Back then, we got like 4 bearish weekly 7-day cycle. Right now we got 4 bearish weekly 7-day cycle. We're going to be pushing to the upside, but that's going to be too easy. Okay, it is going to be too easy. Why it is going to be too easy? Because if you recall what I just said regarding the 3-week cycle, is like back then we couldn't close below the 3 weeks to 1 EMA. As of now, even though we're getting 4 straight weekly bearish cycle, right, just like what happened right here, right, we cannot close above the 211 EMA. So you see the difference. Even though in terms of cycles, right, it is the same pattern right there, but in terms of the higher time frame, it is not. Okay, it is not the same pattern. Okay, so something to basically keep in mind going forward regarding the weekly cycle. And in terms of like moving averages, our 21 EMA right here been acting as a strong resistance, and our 100 EMA being our strong support. Okay, remember we talked about what our 100 EMA when BTC was at 52, what we said, we're going to dump down to our weekly 100 EMA, and that's exactly how we nailed it. Take a look at it right here, nearly over 35-40% move. All right, give or take depending on your entry. Okay, depending on your entry, sucker dump like between 35 to 40%. So the weekly time frame, it is still bearish, and we're still not getting a strong bullish reversal on the MACD. Okay, so we already talked about the bearishness like that, right? So we don't need to go back and talk about the divergence, right? So now let's go ahead and take a look at BTC on a 3D basis. So when we take a look at the BTC on a 3D basis, you might be saying, hey Sen, we're getting a strong support right here. What is this line? That's the same moving average, right? As the weekly 100 EMA. It is our 3D 3D 200 EMA, but we don't 3D 200 EMA, but we don't need it. Okay, because we most of the time talk about the weekly 100 EMA, so we don't need our 3D 3D 200 EMA, because we will be talking about the same thing in different time frames. So we don't need to talk about the 200 EMA on our 3D time frame, because we will be just repeating what we just said on the weekly basis, right? So hopefully you understand what I mean. Okay, on the 3D basis, it is kind of very confusing. Okay, the 3D time frame, it is still pointing up. It is still pointing up. All right, if you recall back in early February, what I was saying right here was like, okay guys, we got the 3D MACD pushing to the upside. Okay, price action already gave us the pump we were looking for. However, you don't want to rely on your first pump. Okay, you don't want to rely on your first pump. And if you just recall what I just said regarding the 3 weeks 211 EMA, I was expecting the 3 weeks 211 EMA to reject the price right there. So if you connect the dots, right, you're going to be like, okay, we got the pump, the MACD is bullish, but the higher time frame will be prioritized, meaning like I will prioritize the 3 weeks time frame over the 3D time frame. Okay, so since like we retested our 3 weeks resistance, I was saying, guys, do not, the 43 to 45 range, it is what a take profit range. Don't basically be buying at 43 to 45, just reaccumulate at 35 to 33 and sell again at 43 to 45. So, and you can see like the entire range right here, even though we've been moving sideways, right, retesting the lows, MACD, it is still pointing up. That's why we cannot basically get a strong move to the downside. We got to get the MACD right here to a press to the downside. Okay, so, and I'm just going to give you guys another good example right here. And we talked about it back in December, right? It is not like something we talked about like a few years ago, right? So back in December, when Pablo S Crypto and T-Dog was, were pretty bullish right here regarding the bull divergence right here. What I was telling you guys was like, just be cautious. The bull divergence played out already, and we got that move to the upside. So that move right here was the bullish divergence, not that move. That move was just a new bearish crossover, and we will be looking for another reversal later on. Okay, so most people fell for it, and they were like, okay, we're going to be pushing all the way up to a 60 and all that good stuff. I was like, guys, let's not fall for it. We already entered a short at 52. All we need to do is just wait for 40975, take some profit, and then wait for 35k. Okay, so the same setup could ended up playing out on a 2D basis, right, and 3D basis if we get a negative crossover right here. Okay, if we get a negative crossover, I don't know, as of now I just don't know what type of divergence we will get. I don't know if it is going to be a horizontal divergence, meaning like MACD retesting the support area, right, and price action creating a wedge pattern. Of course, if MACD going to retest the lows right here of the late January, most likely it will break out below the 35-33. Okay, it will be inevitable for prices to not break out below the 34k area, right? Because remember, it is a 2D time frame, so it moves pretty slow. So the distance right here, it is a big distance, right? So as you can see right here, all right, just like what happened between late December to late January. Take a look at what what happened right here, a big move to the downside. So if we're going to get another move, something like that, it has to give us a big move. I'm not saying it will, but something something to keep in mind going forward, right, regarding the negative crossover on our 2D basis, right? So keep that in mind. Okay, it doesn't have to be a horizontal divergence. Okay, it could be something like that also. Okay, it could give us a positive slope. Okay, meaning like it could just do something like that and push push to the upside. Okay, but I don't think it will be that easy. All right, we will see. Okay, we will see how it plays out once we get a strong evidence, like we will be reversing and all that good stuff, right? So now let's go ahead and take a look at BTC on the daily. So the daily time frame, what I was saying in my premium update also regarding BTC was like, on the daily basis, I don't see anything bullish. Okay, the only thing as we could get is like we could get a double top, double bottom right here, meaning like getting a WXY correction before the move to the downside. That's the only move I saw on the daily basis, and that's exactly what we just did. That's why as soon as we get that 1 hour pump, like 5% in 1 hour, I just updated the group. I was like, okay, it is only a hourly pump, and the volume was not that incredible. Okay, the volume was not that incredible, and price action dumped right back down as of now. Okay, so as of now, we're getting more evidence. It's like the move, it is going to be a downward pressure, right? Meaning like we got our WXY correction and going to be following the trend for the macro view, as we just discussed on on the quarterly basis all the way down to the 3D basis. Okay, so the daily basis and lower, it is just following as of now the higher time frame. As you can see right here, a big rejection on on a 6-hour basis, just a pump and dump, right, within the same 6-hour time frame. Okay, pump like 7% and dump right back down 6%. Okay, so you just have to be very cautious. The higher time frame, it is still bearish. Okay, the daily, it is not looking that great, even though we just pump above the daily 21. Most newbies, most moon boys started to FOMO on that pump. Bang. Okay, bang. Okay, another move to the downside, right? So now let's go ahead and take a look at BTC on the hourly. So the hourly time frame, as you can see right here, right, that's the move I was just saying. The move was only big on the hourly basis, a 5% pump, okay, on the hourly. So if you take a look at the volume on Coinbase, right, the volume right here was somewhere around like 2.9, right, and right there we got another 1.9 volume, okay, on Coinbase. So let's take a look at it on the 15 minutes, because it was looking pretty impressive on the 15 minutes. So after I saw the big pump, and I was like, okay, let me check the 15 minutes time frame. So you take a look at the 15 minutes time frame, right? That pump was only a 15 minutes pump. It wasn't even an hourly pump. It was only a 15 minutes pump. So, and I was like, okay, the volume right here was somewhere around like 1.3K, right? 1,000 BTC, 1,300 BTC, right? The first 15 minutes, and the second 15 minutes of the hourly, we got 800 BTC. Okay, 800 BTC, nearly over 60% of the initial pump volume. So I wasn't convincing. I was like, okay, this doesn't look right. Okay, it doesn't look right. So the volume is not convincing, even though we got a 5% pump. Okay, if you get a 5% pump, the first 15 minutes of your hourly candle, right, with 1,000 volume, right, you don't want your second 15 minutes of your hourly candle to be like 500 volume in terms of selling pressure. That's a lot. You want it to be somewhere around like, let's say 100 BTC, okay, 20% of your buying pressure, something like that. Okay, but not that big. Okay, even though the candle body wasn't that big, the volume was big. Okay, this candle right here was small, right? The next candle was small, but the volume was nearly over 80% of the, I would say over, let's say 75%, right, of the volume right here, right? So that was a lot, and I was like, okay, it only, the pump only looked good on the hourly basis, but if you dive into the 15 minutes, right, and dig deeper, you will see like it was just a wasn't a very convincing pump. I'm not saying it cannot basically retest it, but what we had like over the last few hours was not very convincing for any bulls to go long right here, right? So basically, if we go ahead and take a look at it in terms of Fibonacci once again, the only thing I can see right now, it is the flat correction right here. This flat correction, it is a very powerful flat correction. Even if you take a look at it on a daily basis, that's the same flat correction we got right here. Okay, and we talk about it, right? I showed you guys even before we made this pattern. We will basically we got a strong we got a strong evidence like we most likely going to be making it. Okay, that's the same pattern we got right here, and guess what, guys? We nailed it from the top right here all the way down to a 35. And if you go back to 2019, right, that's the same pattern we got right here, and we nailed it also right there. Okay, we nailed it, same exact pattern. And I showed you guys, over the last few weeks, I showed you like this pattern, and I was like, we could be making the same pattern. So don't buy above 45K area, right? Just buy somewhere around like a 35, 33K area. That way you take advantage of the double top, double bottom move, and before the dump to the downside. Okay, so and once again, the pattern right here, it is nothing but a smaller version, right, of the big pattern right here, right? And that's the same pattern we got right here. So BTC is doing the same exact thing over the last few years. Double top, double bottom. Even on the macro level, if you take a look at it on the macro scale, it is doing the same exact thing. It is doing the same exact thing. Double top, double bottom. Same exact thing. Same exact move over the last few years. All right. All right, guys. So I think we're done with BTC. We just talked about BTC here from the quarterly basis all the way down to the hourly basis. And just to summarize it, right? The macro view, it is still pointing to the downside. Okay, as of now, as of today, right? Could we get some some directional move to the upside over the next few weeks? Possibly, but as of now, we just have to stay with the directional move down to 30k and possibly to the monthly or 50 EMA over the next like a few weeks. Okay, and after that, we will talk about like a for a potential move to 100k, 200k, and all that good stuff. So you just have to be very, very patient. Don't rush the market. If you rush the market will take it all from you. Okay, it will take it all from you. Hey, what's up, Hank? Doster, thanks a lot for tuning in. We got Crit Moon Song Sana, Crip Moon Song Sana in the house. Thanks a lot for tuning in, man. Hey, what's up, Jude XRP? Thanks a lot for tuning in, Mr. XRP 589. We will take a look at XRP, man. Guys, thanks a lot for hitting the likes. Okay, I really do appreciate it. Remember, it is a free content, and if you enjoy the content, don't forget to hit the likes. Right, I'm giving you my free time. I don't get paid by YouTube, right, to do this, so make sure to hit the likes, right? Jenko Gold in a house. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the stock market is dumping, says Pablo Escripto. Let's go ahead and take a look at KNC for Crit. So KNC BTC, I've been bullish on KNC BTC. Just hit our 8,000 resistance. We could hit the 20,000 up to 20,000 resistance over the next like a few weeks. Okay, but the main thing was like to get back to 7,000 to 8,000 from the 2,000 range. Okay, that was the main thing, because one thing I'm afraid of is like if it creates a double top, double bottom right here, and basically before pushing to the upside. That was my only concern regarding the reversal up to 8,000. But as of now, it looks pretty good, right? Even down to the weekly basis, it looks very, very good. I don't see it is a bearish pattern, but it was a bullish pattern from the bottom right there. Okay, especially after the retest of the January lows. Remember, most of these alt, after they retest the January 2021 lows, right, especially versus BTC, they tend to pump to the upside. Okay, that's why we got that pump from QSP. If you remember, we got that pump from QSP. I think we got that pump from Sushi, but Sushi retested the July 2021 lows before the pump to $12. Now it is below $3, right? But it is looking good, right? You don't want to be long in it as of now. It is not a buy. Even though it is above like a resistance, you just have to be cautious. The buy was right here, okay, or even like back in like a February and all that good stuff. If you entered somewhere around like a 3,500 down to like a 3,000, you could have be selling right now above 8,000. Okay, but you needed to be very patient. Okay, so and we talk about it in our premium. It is a it was a premium setup. Same thing as ANT BTC. They both had the same setup. So after ANT pumped, that's how I was like pretty. That's how I was pretty convinced like KNC most likely going to pump. Okay, so just be cautious. You don't want to get high exposure as of now. If you took your 200% move on KNC, 300% move, whatever. You got to take good profits and just let the rest run and try to reaccumulate back at the bottom. Okay, this one is ANT, but ANT and KNC, they both have the same setup. Let's go back to KNC. Okay, so just in case we get a strong rejection right here, you just have to wait for the next like a few months to reaccumulate at 1,500 sats. But as of now, it is just a hold. You know, you take your profits, you just let the rest run. If we hit like anywhere between 18 to 20,000 again, you take another profits, because you know, it's not gonna go up forever, right? It's not gonna go up forever. Hey, what's up, Buzz? Thanks a lot for tuning in. I already told Satoshi to sell. Ver video in the house. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Love fake out for the Fed's meeting, possibly, right? Possibly. The higher time frame is still bearish, guys. So we just have to stay with the higher time frame. If you guys recall last year, actually 2020, right? September, October 2020, I was very bullish on BTC. Okay, all the way up to even May 2021. But as of now, it is not easy to be extremely bullish, and you know, we just have to be cautious. And when market reverses, we will basically reverse again and be some moon boy. But if you want to be a moon boy like you know, forever, it's not going to be easy. I'm bullish on BTC on a macro view, but you know, short to medium term time frame, we just have to be very cautious. Like 3 to 6 months, it might not be very you know, it might not be very aggressive to, you know, to the upside, right? So we just have to be very cautious. And once we get another opportunity for some big moves, like 50% pump every month and all that good stuff, like what happened between you know, between October, right, until basically April 2021, BTC was pumping like nearly 40 to 50% every month, right? Right there we got 35, right there we got 48, another 56, right, another 50%, right, and so on and so forth, right? On average, we were getting like 40 to 50% every month, right? But as of now, it is not easy to get those moves, you know, while we're getting like a strong downside pressure, okay? And the volatility, as you can see on a monthly basis, right, in terms of volume, it is not looking good at all. It is not looking good, okay? So wait for the big breakout in terms of volume, accumulate the dips, right? If we break out anywhere below 30K, it is going to be a steal. Remember what happened back in March 2020, right? BTC, it is still up 10x over the last 24 months. It is up 10x over the last 24 months. So there is nothing to be worried about, right? If you're looking for the next like a 24 to a 48 month, right? It doesn't matter if we dump all the way down to even like a 20K, it is still going to be a steal, because 24 month, 48 month after that, you could be looking for like 300K, 400K and all that good stuff, right? So always pay attention to the macro view. BTC, it is still extremely on the macro view, guys. Like, I mean, like 3 to 5 years, it is still pretty bullish, okay? We haven't talked about the yearly cycle, right? We will talk about it during our next live update, right? If you take a look at the yearly cycle, guys, this guy is pretty it's pretty bullish, man, okay? Take a look at it. We only got 2 bearish yearly cycle over the last 10 years, over 10 years, guys. You got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 13 years, okay? In 13 years, right, you only got 2 red candles. In 13 years, you only got 2 red candles, okay? So, you know, you got to stay bullish, guys. You got to stay bullish, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at XRP. So XRP 589. So 589 gave us a 3D pump a couple days ago, right? But on the 3D, we could not close above the resistance right here, okay? Could not close above the resistance. But if we manage to take a cheap shot, right, Our next resistance is going to be 2,500, right? Even up to 2,700. If we can manage to close above, like let's say, 2,000, 2,050, 2,060 area, right? Within the next, like, let's say 3 days, okay? If we, because the current 3-day candle will close in 19 hours, okay? So, 48, 72 hours, right? If we can close above the range, it doesn't have to be 72 hours, but all I'm saying is if we can close above like a 2050 on a 3D basis, that could trigger a bull momentum up to a 2500 range. Okay, if we break down, we know, okay, 1250 range going to be the next support, and after that we got the 1250 is right here, 0.618, right? That's going to be the next support. Okay, so a big move, you don't want to break out below 1800 sats. If we break out below 1800 sats, you just have to let it drip. Okay, you just have to let it drip, because the risk, going to be pretty high, all the way down to like a 1250, and you could reaccumulate and sell again at 1500, something like that. Just trade these Fibonacci's, okay, 1500, 1200, all the way down to 900 range. It's boring right now, okay? It's pretty it's been pretty boring trading XRP, right? All right, guys, if you guys don't have any other question, I'm just gonna call it a day, right? We talked about the BTC dominance, we talked about BTC on the macro view, quarterly all the way down to the weekly time frame. The trend, it is still down. The yearly cycle, it is still up, so keep that in mind. Anything below 30k, it is going to be still the range between 35 to 21k, going to be possibly the bottom. I don't see BTC going down to 10k and all that good stuff. So if you're looking for a macro buy BTC, anything below 35, guys, not even 30k, but 35, if the bottom going to be 21k, you're still buying within, like, let's say 50 to 60% within the bottom. So you're still looking pretty good, buying 35 to 30k, add on like 25, and wait for the next like a few weeks, few months to get those big gains on BTC. Don't rush it, just be patient. Don't rush it, just be patient, right? All right, guys, thanks a lot for watching.